This story is absolutely fascinating, and it's going to be buried because other aspects of it were previously buried. So take a look at this. In Mediaite, Politico reporter confirms emails from Hunter Biden laptop. Politico's Ben Schreckinger said Tuesday that a source corroborated several of Hunter Biden's emails, including one believed to suggest giving his father, President Joe Biden, equity in a Chinese company. Quote, a person who had independent access to Hunter Biden's emails confirmed he did receive a 2015 email from a Ukrainian businessman thanking him for the chance to meet Joe Biden, Politico said, citing Schreckinger's new book released on Tuesday, The Bidens Inside the Family's 50-Year Rise to Power. The same goes for a 2017 email in which a proposed equity breakdown of a venture with Chinese energy executives includes the line, 10 held by H for the big guy. So, this is interesting for a number of reasons. This is the story that came out when a person who owns or runs a computer repair shop had a laptop of Hunter Biden's. He didn't come and pick it up. So this guy, I guess he's right-wing, he decided, I'm going to turn this over to the Trump campaign. He reached out to Rudy Giuliani and gave Rudy Giuliani Hunter Biden's laptop. So they went through it, and they found all these emails and all these other things. Now, the corruption angle, which is what I just read you there, that there were all these backroom deals going on that are corrupt, at the very least unethical, maybe illegal. These stories kind of got drowned out by the salacious stuff. The pictures of Hunter Biden, you know, I don't know if he was naked in them, but some shirtless, smoking a cigarette, sex acts, all sorts of stuff, addiction problem stuff. So all the corruption stuff, which is the substantive stuff, got drowned out by the salacious stuff. But what happened next? This is amazing. This was just a couple weeks before the election. Twitter and Facebook banned the tweeting and sharing of the New York Post article which detailed all this. What? And they did it under the guise of, this is Russian disinformation. So in other words, their argument was Russia hacked Hunter or something, and or this is just lies spread by the Russian government to try to get Trump elected in the final 2 weeks of the election. Their main thing they hid behind was Russian disinformation, so we're not going to allow this on Twitter 2 weeks before the election, and they banned it. Well, guess what? The whole Russian disinformation angle was total bullshit. Total bullshit. By the way, there was a story recently, another, just total destruction of the fable that was Russiagate. Somebody got indicted who was aligned with Hillary for making up some Russiagate stuff. So, of course. I mean, again, there were a few voices on the left who were debunking Russiagate. I'm proud to say I was one of them. But they banned a story that was true, that was accurate. Now, you might say, well, hold on, Rudy Giuliani was involved. This is partisan hackery. Well, yeah, but political figures talking about political stuff, reporting on political stuff, is called politics. That's what happens. And as long as the information is newsworthy, it should be shared. It should be published. Now, I get it, because I said at the time, there's no news value in the Hunter Biden addiction stuff. There's no news value in the Hunter Biden sex stuff. So if I was calling the executive decisions and calling the shots at the New York Post or any other outlet, I would have said, don't publish that stuff. You could put a line, there were sexually explicit things and addiction-related things that we saw, but we're not going to show the pictures. I would say that, but the stuff on corruption is absolutely newsworthy. And you absolutely should have transparency about that stuff, because the American people should know about that stuff in the first place. Joe Biden is an elected official. If he's involved in corrupt deals with his son and a Ukrainian energy company or a Chinese company, we need to know that. So, but Twitter banned it. And here's the main point, guys. The CIA, the FBI, the NSA, they all knew that the Russian disinformation charge was bullshit. And Twitter and Facebook, I don't know if they were duped by it or they knew it was bullshit also, but they unfairly interfered in the election by just totally banning access to stuff they didn't like. Because, I mean, I do think that they preferred Joe Biden win, and so they were sort of protecting him in the final stretch of the election. Now, was it going to be enough to swing the election? I don't think so. I think that's a stretch for sure to make that claim. But either way, people should be against censorship as a matter of principle. Okay, so this is a story that some people might like was censored because, it cut in my direction. Well, what happens when it doesn't cut in your direction? When you can have Twitter and Facebook casually, willy-nilly determine things that are and aren't allowed to be shared based on their own personal preferences. It's unacceptable, man. It's totally unacceptable. It's really easy to imagine a situation where, Bernie Sanders made it to the general election and there was something that they banned that would have hurt his opponent, or something that would have helped him that was banned. I mean, I shouldn't even have to go to these sorts of scenarios in order to prove the case, because on principle alone, you should say, why is Twitter and Facebook censoring anything solely based on politics? Like, imagine they were around at the time when, I think Facebook was. Maybe Twitter was too. I don't know. But let's just say they banned sharing the Snowden revelations, which showed that the U.S. government was spying on all Americans illegally and unconstitutionally. They were taking all of our metadata. What if the claim from the CIA and the NSA and the FBI and the deep state was, this is Russian disinformation? Would Twitter and Facebook just be like, okay, axe it. Don't allow anybody to share these stories. They may have done that. Now, would you be okay with it in that scenario? Would you be okay with it if they called it Russian disinformation, the Chelsea Manning leaks, when she showed Julian Assange how our military was assassinating civilians and then laughing about it? What if they banned that video and said, this is helping Russia, it's Russian disinformation? Would everybody be okay with that? Because that's what they want to do. They want to censor stories like that. So it shouldn't matter what direction it cuts in politically. If the things that are being discussed are factual and they're newsworthy, that's where it ends. I don't want Twitter or Facebook to be an editor or be a filter for me. I'll make my own mind up as to what I think is legit and what I don't think is legit, but it should all be allowed. Now, by the way, Twitter, Jack eventually apologized when they banned the New York Post article that had all the emails in there. Now we know for sure the emails were Hunter's. It's been verified. But they said, no, it's Russian disinformation or something. Well, so Jack apologized, and Facebook still hasn't. So, I mean, it's just astonishing. They really interfered in the election to protect Biden and falsely claimed it's Russian disinformation. I mean, everybody should be uncomfortable with the social media outlets being that involved in politics. You need to go back to what your original idea was. We're just a medium. We're just a bathroom wall. We're not in the business of nitpicking and filtering and editing and determining what isn't acceptable. We're just the medium. That's like imagine a phone company determined, I'm just going to censor certain words when you say them. You'd be like, what are you talking about? They say, well, it's our platform. We determine we don't like it when you say this word. We're just going to censor it every time you say it. You'd be like, get the fuck out of here. You're just the medium. I'm not asking you to do anything. You just exist as the medium for me to call my friend. That's how people have to start thinking about this, because this is unacceptable. And again, now we know for sure the emails were Hunter's. And so the corruption stuff was real. The corruption stuff was true. That's the stuff that matters. And just to the right wingers, God, don't get fucking bogged down in the salacious addiction stuff and sex stuff, because that makes people more sympathetic to Hunter. Rightfully so. Say, how is this newsworthy? I don't care what Hunter's doing with his dick. I don't care what drugs he's doing today. Now, there is a hypocrisy angle with Joe Biden because he was a drug warrior, so his son should be locked up according to his own ideology. You could point out that hypocrisy, but you don't show the pictures of Hunter engaged in all these sorts of things, because there is no news value in that. There's none. It's just the, ha-ha, hee-hee, point and mock effect, which is not newsworthy. What is newsworthy is corrupt deals with the Ukrainian energy company, corrupt access to Joe Biden, pay-to-play stuff, a deal with a Chinese company, apparently. So this is a bad precedent that's been set, and I shudder at the thought of what happens moving forward.